Hello and welcome to the Aiden Andrew podcast, which is all about time. So who's this for? This is for people that recognise that their time is limited and want to better understand and navigate reality in order to better use their time.
You said my name wrong.
Aid Abrahams.
My name is Cade. Cade Abrahams.
And we'll start this podcast by multiple different segments, and I want you to leave down in the comments below which segment you prefer, and we're going to be iterating and improving these different segments to end up with a podcast that you guys love.
Absolutely.
Starting with
the first segment, which is 5 rapid fire questions from each of us. So should I go first?
Yeah.
You haven't seen these before?
No.
Great. So the first question, what is your biggest achievement today?
Helping people overcome procrastination to the level and the results that people are getting through the procrastination program.
Yeah. It's amazing, isn't it? Yeah.
It's crazy.
Yeah. Tell me about an embarrassing moment.
An embarrassing moment. Yesterday, last night, I woke up to go to the toilet in the middle of the night, pitch black. I don't want to wake up my girlfriend, so you're peeing in the dark, and the only way you can do that is off of sound. I peed all over the floor. I missed the toilet completely. Realised that I peed on the floor completely because you listen to the sound of the pee hitting against something.
Yeah, like the ceramic of the water, right?
Exactly,
yeah.
And it was hitting against something, and it turns out that was the floor. So in the middle of the night, I had to embarrassed wipe up this pee from the floor, and it was the worst thing ever.
Wait, did you have to turn the light on?
I didn't turn the light on, I just used loads and loads of toilet paper and then got this cleaning thing and sprayed it.
What, in the dark?
In the dark, yeah.
It would almost have been worse if she comes in, turns the light on, there's just you wiping the floor, the covered floor.
But the worst thing was, I had to send her a voice message in the morning, so I left before she woke up and I sent her a voice message explaining what I had done.
Why did you tell her?
What do you mean, why did I tell her?
It's not like there was any evidence or anything.
Yeah, just get rid of the evidence. Imagine she sees this and she's like, you peed on the floor, you didn't tell me.
Oh yeah, I was just establishing my territory. I didn't want you going in the toilet anymore. Alright, that's a good answer. Next question, dogs or cats?
Dogs, 100%. I want a dog so badly. Dog's a man's best friend, and as soon as I can, I'm buying a dog.
I know how much. You've gone to great lengths to try and get a dog.
Dogs are the best. They're the best animal on this planet.
Yeah, they are.
More loyal than anything you could ever ask for.
I know, it's crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah, so we used to have, this might be a bit dark, we used to have one dog and one cat. And my dog was dying, and the vet had to come over and look after it, and the dog was lying down in its deathbed outside in our garden, and we were all there and stuff. And so my mum goes inside to talk to the vet and stuff, and the dog, she gets up off of its deathbed to follow my mum indoors, and literally only a dog would do that. Would just to be close to my mum. I will never forget that.
Jeez.
So yeah, I would always choose a dog over a cat for that reason, because the cat did not do that.
What did the cat do? Run off?
Yeah, literally.
Wow, dogs are incredible.
I know. Yeah.
Fair play to the brave guys that tamed those wolves back in the day. I would not be doing that.
They did a good job.
They did a good job.
I'd love to know more about how that happened.
I mean, you hear rumours where it's people start using wolves as protection, and in order to do that, they feed them the scraps of what they hunt.
Yeah.
And the dogs end up respecting that, but who knows what actually happened.
Yeah.
Wolves are massive, though. Have you seen wolves in the wild?
Yeah.
They are a lot bigger than you'd expect. They're massive.
Yeah.
They're massive.
I know. I love watching those memes about people, the dogs and wolves, and how the wolf is this big alpha, the dog is this tiny little baby. He gets dressed up in this outfit all day.
Pink outfit.
And the wolf, yeah, literally.
Compare a wolf to a poodle.
Yeah.
What went wrong in society to go from a wolf to a poodle?
Yeah, literally. Because dogs are bred now for for being adorable and stuff, and so it's just it's crazy.
They're bred for having short legs,
yeah,
and a long body.
It's funny just to imagine what the wolves are thinking of the dogs.
I know. That's in Rick and Morty, isn't it?
Is it?
Yeah.
Oh, that's quite funny. Oh yeah, I think it is. Yeah. All right, next question. What are you most afraid of?
Losing my mental health.
Yeah.
Not my mental health, my mental clarity. I hate not my grandpa's starting to lose his mental edge, and even things like his crossword that he does daily. he just can't do it as well as he used to.
Yeah.
But then that's affecting other ways where he's starting to get scammed.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I think that the mental clarity you have is an edge over, or at least I feel like the mental clarity I have is an edge over some other people, and I would hate to lose that.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, it's so terrifying.
Yeah.
Like,
take my body, fine.
Yeah.
But my mental health.
Yeah. That's why you got to look after yourself, isn't it?
Yeah, take your supplements.
Yeah, your snake oil. Don't forget to take your snake oil, kids. Alright, next question. Give me like a hidden gem of a book. Like a book that you've read that was really good but many people know about.
I think it's Cal Newport's So Good They Can't Ignore You.
Mm-hmm.
And he says that the number one way to win at life is just to become so good at something that people can't ignore you.
Mm-hmm.
It's like a mindset shift from always expecting the world to give you what you want, and he's just saying no. Just get so good that the world has no other option other than to give you what you want.
Mm-hmm. And
that was a mental shift I had early on, that the world doesn't owe me anything, it's up to me to become so good that there's no other option than for me to achieve my goals and to get what I want. That was a pretty cool book.
Yeah. Fair.
Is that the 5?
Yeah, that's the 5. My turn.
Right. Describe yourself as a teenager in 3 words.
That's a good one. Arrogant, little, Machiavelli.
Really?
Yeah. I was really bad.
Yeah.
Like, I used to pick fights with teachers,
yeah,
and then talk myself out of it.
Yeah.
Like, it used to be a challenge to see how much trouble can I get into, and then talk myself out of trouble. Like, that just used to be a fun day at school for me.
Do you think that was because you were bored?
Yeah. I just wasn't being like mentally challenged in the way that I want to. Like, I'd say I'm quite social, and so it was just fun just to pick fights and then like try and claw back from that.
Yeah.
I
think I was bored as well. That's why a lot of mischief happened.
Did you do a lot of that kind of thing as well?
Not Machiavelli to that extent. I mean, my number one priority was fun, sometimes at the cost of other people.
Yeah.
But it was just, I just wanted to have fun. That was it.
Literally.
Are you open to living on Mars?
Yeah.
Fast or slow?
Fast? What does that mean?
It's up to you to determine.
It's slow, because slow is smooth.
Ooh.
Smooth is fast.
There we go.
That is it.
Fast or slow or smooth?
Smooth.
If you could only have one superpower?
The power to control time.
Fair. If you could pick any age to die, what would you pick?
9,997.
Really?
Yeah.
Why that number?
Because I feel like 9,999 is too much, but 9,997, like, that's a good number to die at.
Right. And that's assuming you've got good health, right?
Oh, yeah, like, perfect. That mental clarity that you were talking about, like, and obviously no wrinkles as well.
Yeah.
There's 2 things that matter to me. It's no wrinkles and mental clarity.
I mean, you've said that you'd be happy if you died now.
Yeah.
You said that you've lived a good enough life now.
Yeah.
Is that true?
Yeah, definitely. Like,
fair.
Yeah. I don't know, that's really interesting. Like, I don't think... Yeah, it's the same thing as, like, you know, Marcus Aurelius said, like, when the curtain falls, you know, it's up to the actor to walk off the stage, and you know, don't protest at that. Obviously, I'm, like, trying to live as long as possible. Yeah. But if it happens, like, I'm incredibly grateful for, you know, all that I've experienced so far, and all that the world's given to me. So, yeah.
I don't think I'd be happy if I died.
Really?
Yeah, but I admire that response.
Yeah.
I just feel like I've got so much more left to give.
Yeah.
So much more. Like,
but I mean, if it's not in your control...
I know. I think if it came down to it, with time, I would be able to process it and come to that conclusion.
You'd be dead. So you're about to die, and you're just like, can you just give me like maybe 5 years so that I can process the dying?
Yeah. I mean, who knows?
Yeah.
Who knows? It's one of those things that I don't want to go on the edge where I'm like, oh, I'd be happy if I died now, because then I feel like that might take away from my drive.
Yeah, you've always got to be a little bit afraid of it so that it keeps you from...
Exactly, otherwise you're going to do some stupid stuff that's really close to that risk.
Yeah.
Like, I think that it's almost healthy, the fact that we're afraid of dying to an extent.
Yeah.
Because it stops us from doing things that increase the likelihood of us dying.
Yeah. So if I have no control over it, then I'm like,
completely understand.
But up to the point that I can control and I do everything that I can, You know, it's that whole like improv saying of hold on tightly, let go lightly. Like you got to hold on to everything that you've got until the moment that you can't anymore, and you got to let go.
Yeah, I mean, it would be cool to discuss the idea of the dichotomy of control,
right?
Where in Stoicism it states that some things are within your control, and other things aren't in your control. Do you think it's better to lean on the side of this isn't in my control or this is in my control?
I think it's probably better to lean on the side of maybe it is on my control. Like it's more practical, I think. I mean, yeah, this is like one of the criticisms that like Nietzsche had. Like he ripped Stoicism apart, man. He did not. I mean, he ripped a lot of things apart, like Christianity. But he really went in on Stoicism, and that was like one of his main complaints is that he kind of just saw them as like just lying down and just taking the world, walking over them. So it's like a tough balance to strike, and the way that I balance it is like I do everything that I can up to the point that I can't control it anymore, and then just accept that. You just got to have that mental.
But often you can't get extremely clear on whether or not you can control something. So something's vague. You're not sure if you can control it or you can't control it.
Yeah.
Do you lean on the side of I can control it or I can't control it?
I would say, I mean, if it is vague, yeah, I would say, yeah, I can control it. I would tend to lean on that side because I think that's more practically useful for me than saying, oh, I can't control it.
Yeah. So I used to talk about the dichotomy of control loads on the YouTube channel. But what I found was that when people hear that, their response is, oh, I can't control this. So say there's something that you slightly can control and you slightly can't control. People tend to go on the side of, oh, I can't control this, I'm just going to let it happen.
Yeah.
So I found that although the idea and the theory backs up, in reality, so many people interpret it as, I can't control all of this thing, therefore I shouldn't do anything to try and control it. Like a job interview. Yeah, you can't control the outcome, but of course you can heavily sway the decision. But people hear that and they don't prepare for the interview because I can't control the outcome.
Yeah.
That's not beneficial.
Yeah. It's almost just like focusing solely on what can I control.
Yeah.
And ignoring, discounting the rest.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I completely agree.
Next, are we on to the next section? The next segment?
Yeah.
Sick. So this is quotes, right? So we're going to give each other a quote, like a really great quote that we've like heard recently, and then we're going to talk about it. So should we start off with mine or yours?
I haven't got one.
Oh. Fantastic. Yes. So I guess we'll do mine then. Yeah. So this is a really great quote from the book Precipice that I've been reading recently. And it's all about how the age that we're living in at the moment is like the highest risk age of humanity,
right?
And like it's going to be this age that defines the future of humanity, whether we live in dystopia or whether we just collapse and die, or whether we turn it into like a utopia and continue to live. And this is a really interesting quote, and it goes that our technological development has outpaced our moral development. So what that means is that we've developed nukes and we've developed so much technology, and like even like biological printing, like you could print a virus, for example, very soon, and that has outpaced our moral development. So we haven't developed morally enough as a society to be able to like handle those nukes and handle the ability to destroy the entire Earth responsibly enough. I don't know. Do you agree? Disagree?
I think it's really interesting. I would love to talk about why they think that now is the time that defines whether or not we have a utopia or dystopia.
Right.
I'm guessing because each human now holds the potential for more power than ever before because of the internet. Do you think that's the reason why?
Yeah.
Okay. I mean, if we look at what society values through where we spend our time far more on technological advancements than we do on morality. We're so focused on creating a new iPhone or going to space or doing all of these things over morality.
Yeah.
Nobody talks about morality.
Yeah.
We know, for most people, religion doesn't give us the answer to morality, but yet morality is not something that we're taught or talked about ever.
Yeah, I mean, look at like the school curriculum, for example. You have like maths, you have science, you have computer science now, you have like math, you have all that. But there's nothing that's like sat down to like, okay, here's how you can be like a good person. But the problem with that is like having the state define what a good person is very problematic, and so that's why there hasn't been much. I think is because the system isn't set up to allow. Like you wouldn't feel okay if the state was dictating to you how to live a good life, but people almost need that.
I mean, I had ethics and philosophy in year 7. And the only thing I remember is omnipotent, omniscient, omnipresent.
Omniscient.
Omniscient, so that's the one.
Yeah.
And learning the definitions for them.
Yeah,
That's the only thing I remember.
Yeah.
Because they made us remember the definitions for these things.
It's more like looking at like groups and other people and seeing what they think, rather than like looking inward and seeing like, okay, here's how you can use this information, here's how you can develop. Like you don't see that in like the curriculum. And it's crazy that people don't have that, and it's so much left to parents as well to do. And then you're kind of just rolling the dice with the parents as well.
And the thing is with the parents, oftentimes the parents, you don't listen to what the parents say, you listen to what they do. And that comes to a different question of not just what is moral, but how do you actually stick with moral things. And you can't blame the state for not wanting to answer that question.
Yeah.
I mean, even us, when we were creating the procrastination program, which helps people use their time wisely, we haven't dictated to people what is a good definition of your time, what is a wise use of your time, what is a good purpose for life. We shied away from that question because it comes down to the individual. But just like you're saying, we got feedback of people saying, we want you to tell us why. So yeah, there definitely should be more of a conversation about it, at least the government or whatever providing both sides and letting the people decide. Whereas at the moment there's not the conversation at all.
Absolutely. And so this book kind of lays out that we have a moral obligation to teach morality, or to like get better at that kind of the development of things. Because basically he's outlining that the entirety of the human future, like this is like trillions and trillions of people, like we're just here, and then this is the past. And then you've got this entire future. And we're at this stage where either that future is going to exist or it's not going to exist. And so we have such a huge moral obligation to like rapidly increase our moral, like, you know, philosophy and our moral knowledge in ourselves. And I just think that's so interesting because it brings up so many questions about like what is, like these are like questions that philosophers have tackled for like eons. And so it's like, you know, it's so interesting.
But that's the thing, if they've tackled them for so long and there's not been a definitive conclusion, how on earth are we meant to make those conclusions for ourselves?
Yeah.
Like there's people that have dedicated their life to understanding what's right and what's wrong, and they haven't come to a good conclusion. Otherwise we would know about it.
But you'd hope so.
You'd hope so. I mean, there's always people that disagree, and those people have spent far longer deciding those questions than I. So I guess you've just got to. It's such a difficult one. It's such a difficult one. Because I mean, morality is important, but there's lots of other things that are important, and we've all got a limited amount of time. So how can we decide whether it's worth spending our time on morality over other things?
I mean, we could have like a whole, you know, hour like just discussing that question. It's really interesting, and I'd love to see like what people's thoughts about this are, because I think it really is going to be one of the things that defines our era. Like, you know, we've got so much power. How do we use it?
Every one man nowadays has the power to do incredible things because of the internet, which has removed all barriers to entry for everything. For everything. And it's only going to get more and more and more incredible. Like the barrier to entry for knowledge, it's gone. Before, you would need access to a library, you'd have to pay tutors, and you'd have to go and listen to people speak. With the internet, that removes everything. The barriers to entry to communication, before you would need a media company for you to be able to talk and get your message out. Nowadays you've got Twitter, YouTube for free. So how you spend your time is an even more important question than ever before, because the internet's removed all barriers to entry.
Definitely. And I mean, it's only going to get worse, like so much worse. Well, I mean, like the ability to destroy ourselves is going to get so much worse. Like the idea of having a 3D printer that could print a virus. Like people would just sit at home and just design a virus, print it, and then give it out to people. Like that's terrifying. So it's only going to get, you know, even more exasperated, which is really interesting as well.
It's really interesting.
So I think we're at the tipping point for humanity.
Because in 100 years' time, it's going to take one bad person that can cause, like, every bad person will be able to cause a lot more damage than before. Which is crazy.
You won't need to be like an evil supervillain sat in like a mountain
with millions of pounds and all like followers. You don't need any of that anymore.
Mass harm. Anyway, something slightly lighter. I haven't got anything to add to that really. I'm still grappling that problem.
I mean, I guess we've got to remember that with mass harm, there's always the flip side, and that there's people and potential to do mass good.
Yeah.
Which is always, it's warming to see that. And I guess that's why morality is so important, because you want as many people that would have gone to the side of mass harm to go to the side of mass good.
Yeah.
And that can't happen without the conversation of what is right and what is wrong.
Yeah, and what is good and what is bad,
Exactly.
Yeah, and why should you stick to the good when the bad is personally better for you in some cases.
And you can see why both of us in our teenage years went to sometimes things that were bad, because there's no conversation about it. Like, I didn't think, is this right or wrong?
Yeah.
Or maybe I did, but there was no consequences, so I didn't think too much into it.
Yeah.
But the consequences that can happen over to yourself, even if there's no external consequences, can be huge to doing bad things.
Yeah.
And that can really affect you mentally if you've done bad things.
Absolutely.
But people don't talk about that.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. So the next segment, biggest problem in the business.
Yeah. So I think this comes down to your time. I think we both recognize this, and that a lot of your time is being spent at the moment on these strategy sessions, talking to people about their procrastination, about their productivity, and about their problems, and seeing whether we can help really. And so I don't know, did you have any thoughts about that?
Yeah, I mean it's a difficult one, because first of all, I love to speak with everyone in the audience. Second of all, in order to replace that role, we need someone with a sales background, but more importantly, someone who understands the problem of procrastination, not using your time wisely, wasting time on gaming or whatever. And to find that combination, if there's anyone out there, we would love to hear from you. Email me. But it's so difficult to find someone that fits that role, who isn't just trying to sell and sell and sell, but also is going for the good of the people and focusing on the end goal of the program, which is getting people results. Yeah. Because there's no point letting somebody in if we're not going to get them results.
Yeah.
In the long term, that's going to cause way more harm than good.
So the biggest problem is just finding great people to replace you and what you're currently doing, so you can go and work on higher level stuff. Right?
Exactly, higher leverage things.
Yeah, that's interesting. And so what kind of are you doing at the moment to kind of find those great people and attract them?
At the moment, not much, because I don't know where to go to find that kind of person.
Right.
It's a problem that is growing and growing and growing, so we should base the way we spend our time should be equivalent to how big those problems that we're having are.
Sure.
So I should be dedicating more time to it than I currently am.
Okay. You're going to start doing that then?
Yeah.
Problem solved.
Yeah, literally. Biggest problem in the business? Tick. 2 minutes of conversation? Tick.
Yeah, I mean, quite literally, it is recognizing there is a problem and then going and confronting that problem. That can be a major stepping off point for so many things. The unknown unknowns are often the most dangerous ones.
You're so right. And even bringing the awareness, the size of the problem is half the battle to overcoming that problem.
Yeah.
In so many different areas, recognizing that this is actually a serious problem is the first step to overcoming that problem.
Yeah.
Just defining the problem is also a really good step to overcoming the problem.
Yeah.
Because I think so many people have recurring problems in their life, but those recurring problems are going on in their head. As soon as you take that recurring problem, write it down through something like journaling, you've now got the problem written in a one sentence. It's written in one sentence, and it's 10 times easier to resolve a problem that you've defined clearly compared to a problem that's going on in your head.
Yeah.
I like that segment. What's the biggest business problem?
Yeah. Maybe we should add on another section, what's the biggest problem for you personally? I mean, does anything come to mind?
I mean, the first thing is how I spend my time.
Yeah.
Am I spending my time in a way that's going to benefit me, benefit humanity, and get me to the goals I want? That's everyone's problem. Are you spending your time wisely?
Yeah.
Number one problem for everyone.
Yeah. And so do you think there's somewhere recently you haven't been spending your time wisely?
Well, on those calls.
Yeah.
Which is taking a lot of my time. I mean, there's so many people who are having to cancel applications because they just don't have time.
Yeah.
I mean, it's crazy when you think about it that everybody on this whole planet has got 24 hours. That is a constant for every single person that's ever existed. And the only thing that determines what results you get is how you spend your time. And now we are seeing people's results getting more and more and more exponential. The variance between results is more and more and more and more, which shows that the way that you leverage your time is getting more and more and more important. Every second of your time, if it's wasted, puts you at the bottom end of the curve where you're getting tiny results. Whereas if you can use that second of time wisely, you're starting to get on this crazy exponential curve. Like how you spend your time now, thanks to the leverage we have, is more important than ever before.
Yeah.
It's a cool problem to have.
It is a cool problem to have. And I think it's really interesting. And I think that's, what over the long term we're really trying to explore. And so that, when we, wrap things up, we can literally just, say, this is exactly how, this is the system. What a gift to humanity to be able to say, like, this is what we discovered over our years of working, that this is how you should be spending your time.
I know. And that includes moral questions, what is good, what is bad, but then more practical questions like, how can you get 2 hours of work done in an hour and a half?
Yeah.
Like it covers everything.
Yeah. 2 hours of work in an hour of work, but then also there's also long term for you as well. Because if I just sit there and down 2 cups of coffee and then just bash something out, that's not good for me long term.
Very true.
So it is an important trade off as well.
Yeah, there's so many different interesting things that come into how are you spending your time. Because like you said, the short term effects, there's long term effects, there's emotional effects. Because even for the next 10 years we could be using our time wisely, but if that's going to affect us in a mental way for the next 50 years of our life, that's not a trade-off that's worth it.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's something that I experienced personally, obviously. So before, we obviously were working together. I was running my startup and I was doing like 7 days a week. I was spending like, I wake up at 6 a.m. I go to sleep at 2 a.m. Every day, like 4 hours sleep. That's crazy. And just work the whole day. And I thought, I'm amazing. I'm super productive, I'm outpacing Elon Musk. But you just can't sustain that in the long term, and that just led to like this huge collapse. It just builds up and up and up.
Yeah, it's crazy.
So you've really got to consider the long term
with everything.
Yeah,
and I love that fact because one of the advantages in business. I mean, you see Jeff Bezos say it literally hundreds of times in his letters to the shareholders, and he's got the biggest company. Is to think long term. It's weird that concept can apply to productivity like you're talking about, but it can also apply to growing a business. That brings us to the point of things that are interconnected and that you can learn one thing in one field of your life, and because there are these laws of the universe, that same thing can be applied to all different areas of your life.
Yeah.
That's a crazy realization that things are true in all areas of life.
Yeah, the world is interconnected and you can see parallels everywhere.
It's crazy.
Yeah.
You can research physics and get parallels to business. You can research relationships and get parallels to your health. It's crazy.
Yeah.
And it's cool because it means that you don't have to go so deep into one subject.
Yeah.
You can do things that are you're interested in and that pique your curiosity, and then apply that to your main thing.
Yeah.
That's really cool.
Yeah.
I love the fact the world works in that way. That's really cool. So let us know your segments down below, and let us know if you've got any questions for either me or Aid in the comments below.
Cade!
And we'd love to hear them, but yeah, this is just a test. Let us know what you think.